All right, guys, we'll get started in a couple minutes. I think there are a few people on right now. Can't really see who is on, but I feel like there are people here. See if somebody on could type some in the chat so I can see, make sure that somebody can hear me. Thank you, Braden. Appreciate it. I feel like the last time I could see a list of people. Oh, there we go. Now I can. All right. Let's see if this is share. And does everybody have access to that, the spring meeting info sheet, or should I share that in the chat as well? Okay, cool. We'll do that. Okay, anyone with the link can view this if you guys want to open it up. We'll get started in a couple of minutes because I can see a bunch of people are getting on right now. See, Braden, how did practice finish up? I feel like there we go. It's funny, there's a gap between when I talk and then like 30 seconds before things come into the chat for me. So might be a bit of a gap with that, but we will get to it. All right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. If everybody wants to open up that spring meeting document that I put in the chat, that's going to run through the basics of what we're going to do today. Coach LeBlanc is also in the chat, so if you guys have questions that I missed or something, she can try to answer them in there. But before we get into the details of the spring meeting stuff and everything that we put for like structural to understand about the season, I really want everybody to understand what Cambridge Cross Country is about. So if you were deciding to enter it for the first time or returning runner, we have a key message that we want everyone to understand who joins. And it's that we believe that every runner has the ability to achieve a better version of themselves, to work harder, to push themselves better. From the front runners all the way to the last runner on the team, we think every person can work to better themselves through the way that we train. And that through that, if we continue to better every person who comes into Cambridge Cross Country, that at the end we'll be successful and be able to continue to compete for state championships and things like that. So our value is on every individual runner, regardless of their ability, if they're out and ready to work hard. That's our goal as a team. And we do that as a bear family. It seems corny, but there's an idea that came about a few years back called the sleuth, which is the actual literal name for a pack of bears. And that idea is that together we can support each other to be the best that we can be. And if we're all pushing each other to be better, that together we'll get better and stronger together. So that support of a team and family is a big part of what we try to do with Cambridge Cross Country. So we're really excited to get started with the season. We, despite everything that went on in the last year, we were able to have a successful and a fun year for the kids. And we want to get back to normal from our previous seasons of all the things that we normally do and the expectations we have for summer training. And we can do all of those things now together as a group instead of separated out into small chunks for people who were last summer when we were limited at groups of 19. Now we're hoping that everything's just going to be back at normal unless anything changes. We are at normal practice over the summer. So we'll go through all of that. So I'm Coach Coulter. I'm the head coach. Coach LeBlanc is on the call as well. And she is our assistant head coach. And we have been together. This will be our third year together. And then I've been here since 2014. And then I became the head coach of Cambridge Cross Country in 2015. So been around for a while. Our other coaches, as you can see, we have Coach Wilson and Coach Bob, who's my dad, rejoining us again this year. And then Coach Haney will not be joining us for a good reason this year because she is pregnant and she's due in August. So she plans to return the following season, but as of right now is very excited to welcome her first child. But joining us this year, we're really excited. We have Mike Manos, who is in the social studies department at Cambridge High School, and then Amy Muta, who is in the special ed department at Cambridge. And so both of them are going to come out and contribute and be a part of our culture that we've set. We've also got the Booster Club listed with the emails next to it. They do an excellent job of keeping you guys plugged in and informed, getting volunteers to make sure that everything that we can do happens, and they're doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff that, as coaches, we couldn't achieve on our own, and they help to keep everything running smoothly, making sure your kids are registered, and all of that good stuff. And so they do an excellent job of keeping our cross-country family running properly. So we have a big thanks to them. As you can see, they put in here the registration. It is not currently open on Pickle Juice, but the one thing that we do need to do is we need to get everyone signed up for Dragonfly. So Dragonfly is our software that the school uses and now all of Georgia uses to make sure that we have our physical forms up to date. So Dragonfly, the info is in here on how you can do it. It used to be called Arbiter and Planet High School, all that stuff, but now everybody just uses Dragonfly. I think besides the actual scanning of the papers, it's pretty easy. The scanning of the papers is the one frustrating thing that people run into. But we can walk through that with people on an individual basis if anyone's struggling. But the important thing to understand is that if you want to come out to summer practice or any type of practice, your runner has to have a physical on file, and it has to be on Dragonfly. It can't be that they bring in a physical copy. It needs to be on Dragonfly. There's no exceptions to that. If they do not have it for summer practice, they'll be sent home. So we need to make sure that everybody has their physical on Dragonfly for the first day of summer practice and summer training together. All right. So our communication. The way that the Booster Club communicates things out is on the Booster Club email. If you would like to be added to the email, you can email boosterclub@cambridgexc.com to be added to the list. There's also a Cambridge Cross Country Facebook page where parents take incredible pictures and capture the moments of the races. Over the years, it's been awesome. I go through on Sundays and I download all the pictures I want to post from there because everybody does such an excellent job. And then the way that we will communicate as coaches is through the Remind app. If you don't have the app, that's fine. You can text. But the Remind code, and this is really important, it is a different code for runners and parents. So because we are limited to 150 people, we need all the runners to stay on one Remind and all the parents to stay on another. We also have to take out old graduated seniors. I know that some people were disappointed yesterday when I did that. I got a text message about being sad to be removed because they have a graduating senior, but we will keep everybody up to date with our Facebook group too once your kids graduate. So the code for the kids to send to, if you're on Remind, is BearsXC21. I just put that in the chat. It is Bears XC21. If you are texting it and not using the app, you can text it to the number is 81010, and that's for all of Remind. So any Remind class you join, you can always text it to 81010. The parent code, which is what I'm putting in right here, is the exact same thing. It just has a P on the end. So for the parents, it is at BearsXC21 with a P on the end, and then that'll get you signed up for the parents. Often, I send everything to both at the same time, so everybody gets the exact same message. The only difference is sometimes workout-specific stuff I'll send just to the kids. But for any information for buses or anything like that, all parents need to be signed up for is that Bears XC21P, and then that will get you all the same info as the kids, unless it's just like a workout-specific thing that parents don't have to stress about. All right, so as we get into the summer and we get our training groups together, we will do time trials to understand where your kids are at their current level. So we want to make sure that all of the kids are training with people who are going to help optimize them. By saying that, I mean like not having people who are in really great shape running with the slower group, or kids who are just coming out for the first time. We don't want to put them with our varsity runners. We want to make sure that we find the right group for your kids. So we will put them in training groups based on how they perform either at time trials or at races. And I use that data to create paces for each of the kids so they know specifically where they should be working out in their timing. And I can see that a few people are joining right now on our Remind. And so it's really important to make sure that we reach the kids where they are in their training. Our program is not one size fits all. The workouts will be generally the same between the different groups, but the distances that they run during that workout and then the paces they run are specified to them. So we'll have most people will do tempo on the same day, but the distance will be longer for varsity, and then the paces will be specific to every person's race. And that's one thing that we've worked to do over the years at Cambridge. As we look at the summer training, we have changed up our training a lot. When Coach LeBlanc and I got quarantined with the girls team during track season, sat down and reworked a lot of what we do in our training plan. And this year, I'm very confident in saying is the most specific and the most goal-oriented, science-driven training plan we've ever had. If anybody ever has questions about the training plan, I've got an elaborate spreadsheet that I'm not going to bore everybody with. But we have changed the way that we do things days-wise. So that's why I wanted to emphasize that. So generally now, Monday practice will be a faster workout. We work on speed and strength. It won't be a lot of long volume, but it'll be a lot of quick stuff with some aerobic thrown in, and then we'll work on the strength of the runners as well. That will be in the summer at Cambridge High School at 8 a.m. Tuesdays, we're going to do threshold and tempo workouts where we work to build our running toughness, and we try to build up our runners' ability to sustain hard efforts over a longer time. That is going to be now when we meet at Webbridge Park. So we'll meet at 8 a.m. I have the address on the sheet. It is the first parking lot by the soccer fields on the right when you turn into the park. Then Wednesday will be a little bit of weight room and a lot of team building. We're going to work in our small groups on Wednesday and do an easy run. And then we'll do some mobility and foam rolling exercises to help the kids stay healthy over the long term. And that will also be at Cambridge at 8. All the practices are at 8, so I won't keep saying that, but in the summer. Thursday practice will be at the Big Creek Greenway because we are now going to do our long runs on Thursdays. And I'll explain why in a second. But the goal is to help build their engine, their aerobic engine. And we'll do that at the Big Creek Greenway, not at Fowler. And because Fowler's had some flooding and closing. So we're going to go to the YMCA on the Big Creek Greenway. And then our Friday practice will be at Cambridge. Coach LeBlanc is going to take them through an easy run and then yoga. And then our Saturday practice will be at Summit Hill Elementary School, which the address is there as well. And that is going to be our big day. That's the big switch on our long run versus we've always done our long runs on Saturday. We're going to change that up. I was listening to a college coach who has a lot of extremely successful female runners at Furman, and they were talking about how they prep their entire week to get ready for racing. And it makes more sense that you would prep your days of the week for when you race. And as a high school program, we mostly race on Saturdays. So now our hard day is going to be Saturdays, and that's going to be done at Summit Hill because Summit Hill offers gravel, which is better for the kids' legs. It's a little less impact than running on concrete. And then if we go to the left, it becomes extremely mountainous and hilly. And if we go to the right, we get flat tempo workout stuff. So we have both those options at Summit Hill. So that's where we'll do our Saturday runs. Our big emphasis this summer, and the reason we want as many kids out early as possible, is in the past, we've built volume and hard workouts early. And then when we get back to school together is when we add our weight room, we add our resistance band training, hurdle drills, all of those sort of strength and conditioning things. And what we realize is that's the stuff that really keeps the kids healthy over the long term and also makes them faster because we're strengthening things like hips and like the strengthening things around the knee, like the muscles above your knee that you need to strengthen. And so we're going to start from day one of summer doing that, as opposed to in the past where we focused on the volume first and then built that in. We want the kids to be ready with the core and strength stuff before they ever run hard workouts. So that's why in the training plan this year, which I'll put out at the kids meeting, and I'll talk about it in a second, but the runner meeting is going to be next Wednesday at 3:50. I'll talk to the runners on the 28th, specifically about summer training for them. But the training plan starts on May 3rd. And then after track state, we'll start doing some preseason practices the week of May 17th, which is that Monday. We won't do our full slate of 6 days, but we will put a few days a week where we'll meet with the kids if they want to come early. And then our first real summer practice starts, I think on, we'll put that out with the kids training, but know that we will start our first day that the kids can come to an after school practice for preseason will be Monday, May 17th. And then we'll put out at the kids meeting the specifics of those days when we get into our summer training. So as we go through it, like I said, it's really important that everyone get involved early because that's when we're building the injury prevention. That's when we're building the stuff that's going to keep our kids healthy all the way to the end so they're not feeling like they have to ice constantly and they're not having to take time off. We really want to build healthier and stronger runners early in the season this year. All right, so we do have a couple dates to be aware of over the summer. We will not have summer runs the week of June 7th to the 12th, and then the week of July 5th to the 10th. That is the GHSA, the Georgia High School Sports Association. They mandate those as dead weeks where we're not allowed to practice. So those 2 weeks, we will give the runners suggested workouts that they can do on their own, but we will not have any official practice together with coaches that week. And then the week of July 18th to the 24th is when Cambridge will go to Brevard distance running camp. Brevard is an excellent opportunity to really increase your training, to learn a lot. But our biggest thing that we love about Brevard is it gives us a complete time to focus on building a team together. We do goal talks and goal setting there. We work as a group on different challenges and leadership courses. It's an amazing time to come together as a group and really reset and refocus as we go into the cross-country season. And that's like a week and a half before we start our real season practice. That's the week of July 18th to the 23rd. If you're looking at their website to sign up, that is called week 3 on their website. So it's week 3 on the website. Over the summer is an incentive to the kids to work on their training, work on their mileage. And I know even before I say this, 5 of them are going to be annoyed at me, but we have prizes for summer running. For runners who go to the runs or do their runs when they're on vacation and track them on either Strava, or this year I'm going to let you make a copy of my training spreadsheet if you'd rather just do your all your training on one spreadsheet instead of tracking it on an online website. You can do those 2 places as long as it's shared with Coach LeBlanc and I. And you can get prizes based on how many miles you run over the summer. So all runners who reach 300 miles on Strava will receive Dry Fit CXC socks. They look really cool. We've been thankful that Miss Malone has made those for us. And they are Nike socks that have a cool bear logo on the side. At 400 miles, runners can add a CXC hat, which is a Dry Fit running hat. We did navy the year before and we did white this year, so maybe we can try to find a Carolina to just mix it up a little bit. And then runners who, and these are the 5 I was saying would complain at me, reach 500 miles over the summer will receive a tank top. And the 5 of you who did it will still get your tank top before summer starts this summer. That's a guarantee. At June, you'll be wearing your tank top of 500 miles to show off to everybody. And you can do that tracking again on Strava. They join our team, and that link is found in the document, or they can do it on the spreadsheet, which I'll share with them at the meeting next week. All right, so I already talked through running camp. We have a village. The village is awesome because it's the air-conditioned dorms, and we can have 15 boys and 15 girls, and all the info for that is on there. It is an amazing time. Can't recommend it highly enough. I went in high school. That's actually how I found it. And Braden, I see words marked. Good. I went in high school, and now going as a coach, it's awesome to see the other side of it. They do an excellent job and create memories that are some of people's favorite memories of running. And then practice is very important to be at and attend. Obviously, you can't get better without going to practice. And my old coach, who, if you guys ever see the shorter Chattahoochee coach at Chattahoochee High School, he was my high school coach, and he taught me so much. But one of the things he's always said is if you divide out the week by how many days we have in a week in training, and if you say, well, I miss 1 of 6, that may not seem like much, but that's missing a huge chunk percentage-wise of what's going on in our training and working towards the goals that we have health-wise. Like I said, the plan is really laid out specifically to keep everybody healthy, to keep them strong, to have recovery days built in. So following that plan is the way that the kids are going to be successful. And the best way to do that is to be at practice. So that's why we have our attendance policy that you must be at practice. Mandatory practice begins Tuesday, August 3rd. So there's no punishment for missing in the summer. The summer is recommended. It is not mandatory. But to be successful in the fall, you have to do summer running. No one is ever able to make up the gap by starting in August and run. State championships and PRs are made in June and July and not in September and October. It's all about the work that you put in over the summer, and it builds and grows on itself. And you see people who go into summer. I think Sasha from a few years ago is a great example of somebody. Oh, actually, yeah, Sasha ran in 18:55, I think, his junior year, and he was around for some of the summer. But his senior year, he committed, and he got to like 17:20 or 17:15, dropped a minute and a half or more, and ran on the state team that year just by the work that he built over that summer. So it's important that you do the summer training. Once we get to the fall and practice is mandatory, you are allowed 2 unexcused absences. And then on the 3rd, we discuss removal from the team. Excused absences are if you have an illness, an injury, a death in the family, a major religious commitment. SAT or ACT is also a reason. But tutoring, things like that are not excuses from practice. Having a club meeting is not an excuse from cross-country practice. When you make your commitments, you got to think, obviously, family is number one. Your school or your religion and school are ahead of those things. But it is not an excuse to have a vacation or a concert, something like that. Now, what we do is we offer kids a personal day in the fall. So this came up a few years ago where I started thinking about most of our work as adults offers personal days, and you would be annoyed at a job that didn't give a personal day. And so we started giving a personal day as a way to say to kids, hey, we know something might come up. You may want to go out of town, cut out early on a Thursday with your family, or you might have a concert that you really want to go to, or you're just having a really bad day and you feel like you can't do it today. That's okay. And that's why we give one personal day. They need to send us a reminder ahead of time saying, hey, coach, I'm taking my personal day today. And we say, no questions asked. You don't need to tell us where you were. That's your day. And so they each get one of those a season. Then beyond that, if one unexcused absence is a warning, 2, we will discuss if you will run in the next meet. So at a second unexcused absence, we say, hey, you're probably not going to race this next Saturday. And then at 3rd is when we discuss if it's a habitual problem and they can no longer be a part of the team. Now, that being said, if you are somebody who does, let's say you're a soccer player who also does cross country, we can sit down at the beginning of the season and plan out, like Delaney did this and Eric Holman last year did this, where we plan out, okay, these days this week, I have soccer, and I think of like training load. I don't want you guys hurting yourselves because you're working out too much. So we plan out a week and say, all right, well, if you're only missing 1 day of cross country, that's fine as long as we know where you are and what's going on for you. And so that's one of those case-by-case basis where We just want everybody to come up and discuss with Coach LeBlanc or I, and we'll make a plan together with them. Part of the reason why we're able to say aim for not missing any after-school practice is because we do morning practice both Tuesday and Friday. And so that means that after-school Tuesday or Friday is an option. And we also have the option of before school Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday to schedule things like doctor's appointments, tutoring sessions, all SAT help, all those things can be done Tuesday, Friday after school, or before school Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then if a runner gets a detention or any other school disciplinary action, they need to notify their coach immediately, and we need to be made aware of that. All right. Some of the other stuff with practice we can go over when we get closer to the fall in our fall meeting. But another important thing is not to bring valuable things out to practice. There's a lot of times where we'll just all go run for 40 minutes or like in a long run, like 60, 70 minutes. And we don't want people leaving expensive things that you can't lock in your car. I always let people lock them in like my trunk or something if we need to, but just try not to bring expensive things to practice. Important things for the summer to know and to bring for your kids. Running shoes are extremely important. And not just like old basketball shoes that somebody had from before, but getting well-fitted running shoes that are good for your stride are really important. I am a huge fan of Roadrunner Sports. There's one in Peachtree Corners and East Cobb. Big Peach also does a great job of this, and Fleet Feet does as well, of fitting your runners for their shoes. And if you have habitual problems, like I have really bad arches, with things like that, Roadrunner Sports will actually mold an insole to your foot. And I bought like 4 of them to put in different shoes because it's so effective. And it helps with that. A lot of the stores will give a discount when you say you're a high school runner. And sometimes it's like 10, 15%. So that's really good. We'll send out info as we get closer to the season. Some teams do spike or not. Some stores do spike weeks where you can get them cheaper too. Important too is comfortable and lightweight running clothes. It's always funny to see freshmen, typically freshman boys, show up in like basketball shorts, like heavy, long past the knees basketball shorts. And we really want to get the runners in running clothes because it's lighter weight, it's more geared to sweat wicking, and it helps them to have the most comfortable time while running. But those stores also have that, or we can get things on Amazon. Lots of good options there. Also, the runners need to have a watch. A Timex watch is fine, like a old school just stopwatch. Now a lot of runners have GPS watches, which is helpful because it helps track their heart rate, their current pace, how far they ran. But if that's a pricey commitment when you're a new runner, just a cheap stopwatch is great as long as it goes on their wrist. But every runner is highly recommended to bring a watch to practice. It's very hard to grow and understand what you're doing if you don't know what paces you're running. Spikes we'll get into as we get towards the fall. But if you want to get running spikes, distance spikes work, like cross-country spikes work for both track and cross-country season, but the opposite is not true. So just keep that in mind that track spikes don't really work on cross-country courses, but cross-country spikes do work for distance track. So if you're buying spikes, I would recommend buying cross-country spikes instead of track spikes because they will hold up over a trail where track spikes just will not. And then we talk a lot about health. This summer, we are going to really focus on emphasizing each week the importance of health with all the runners. That means hydration, sleep, making sure to take off days off or like cross-training days off, and then hydration. Especially in the summer, we run into the hydration issue where the day before people aren't prepared, and then they have issues like when we get to like 9:30 and it's hot at practice. A good rule of thumb is people should drink between half of their weight to their weight in ounces. So if you're 150 pounds, you should have somewhere between 75 ounces and 150 ounces a day. And for athletes who are trained at the level that our kids are, probably closer to that 100, 150 ounces for that weight. And so you want to space it throughout the day and not just drink a bunch of water before bed, because then it hurts the next part of health, which is your rest, because then you'll be waking up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. So you want to make sure runners know that sleep is crucial, eating something immediately after they finish workouts. So having like a protein bar or nuts or something that they can have right after chocolate milk we do in track is awesome to bring to practice and literally to eat it while we stretch as a team at the end. And then injuries are important to let us know. it's hard for new runners to figure out what is just something that is sore versus injured, but we have great trainers at the school, and Coach LeBlanc and I have a lot of experience looking at injuries and kind of gauging what it is and how extreme it is. And then we can diagnose and make decisions. But we urge people, if it's something that's bothering you for 2 or 3 days, to immediately tell us instead of just letting it sit separate from that. Our meet schedule will be set as we get closer to the fall. A lot of the meets haven't been open for registration yet. So as we get closer, we will let you guys know about that. Important dates to know, though, the state and region meets are already set. So our region meet, unless anything changes, will be the 23rd of October. You want to write that on a calendar. And then state will either be the 5th or the 6th. They have not announced what 6A is yet, but it's the weekend of the 5th and 6th of November. And then we always try to take Labor Day weekend as a time off so families that are waiting to travel can do it then instead of during a meet. So we plan to never have a meet that weekend of the 4th. We'll just do a practice that weekend. And then we will do a time trial meet on August 7th, which is this Saturday. It's the first Saturday of real practice to get a gauge of where runners are. And that'll be our first mock meet to get families and kids an understanding of what a meet looks like, how everything functions, how we warm up. All of those things we'll do at our time trial at home on our course on Saturday, August 7th. And that's a fun chance that all the parents get to be involved and really cheer, run around the course. So that's an awesome thing. And we, as we've said, that we take the sleuth thing seriously. This isn't, I've been a part of a lot of programs and things where it's a lot of talk about, oh, we're a family, work as a family. And then when things get difficult or whatever, it doesn't seem to be the case. I think we pride ourselves on the kids really support each other, and the families in our program really are involved, know the other kids, and are plugged into what's going on at the Cambridge Cross Country. To do that, we do need volunteers for things. We have volunteers for helping with summer bonding things, working on the trail, spirit wear, time trials, pasta parties, all these things you can see listed below. So we would love for you guys to get involved and volunteer. It's a great opportunity to get to know other parents and feel more connected to what the sleuth is. So we thank everybody who volunteers and is involved with everything. And then finally, before we close out, our lettering system. Last year, Coach LeBlanc and I came up with this much simpler lettering system. So we nailed it down to 4 qualifications. If you compete at a varsity race, so if you race in the varsity meets, typically it's 7 to 10 runners, that if you do that twice, that's good for a varsity letter. So if you were called up to varsity for 2 races, that is a varsity letter. And varsity races fluctuate throughout the season. It's not like other sports where you're set at the beginning and like you're JV or varsity. Somebody, Mason is a great example. I don't know, Mason, are you on here? I'll wait in the chat. You can respond. But Mason was somebody who came out, ran high open, low JV for the time trial, and was running with us training. And then as the season went on, he progressed to be upper JV, top of JV, earned a way onto the state championship team, and ran at state that year. And it's not a thing where it's set in stone from the beginning. It is a completely open thing that people have the ability to earn based on their running. The second one is, so that's the first was compete in 2 varsity races. The second is to hit either of these qualifying times. If a girl breaks a 21:30 in a 5K, or a boy breaks an 18 in a 5K, that counts for a varsity letter. And then any senior who has run all 4 years of high school at Cambridge, that is qualification for varsity letter if you've had that commitment and been a part of the sleuth for that long. And then the fourth option is if you have perfect attendance, you don't miss any summer running, and that says virtual. I need to fix that. That was one thing I missed. We are not virtual this summer. We are in person. If you don't miss any summer practices or regular season practices, that is good for a varsity letter, but that's not missing any. If you're traveling, so like if you're in town and you miss practice, that doesn't count. Like that, you don't get that. You're not perfect attendance. If you're going on a family vacation, but you train the whole summer and you log in on Strava while you're on vacation, you don't miss a run, that counts for that as well. And your one personal day, if you take that, does not count against perfect attendance. So you can still take your personal day and get perfect attendance because that is how it works. All right, so that is how you letter for our team. Just a quick, I don't want to take too much time out of everybody, but just a quick rundown of what our goals as a team are this year from a coaching perspective. We really emphasize to the seniors that this is their team. This is not a team that the adults run. This is a team where they set their goals of what they want, and then we try to steer the ship to the point that they've chosen. But the goals that we have are, we want a very, very healthy team this year. We're going to do that through recovering and taking care of ourselves through getting a ton of calories and taking, like, really eating enough to make sure that we're building the muscle and all we need. We want to run beautifully, and by that I mean we want to work on our form so that we comfortably run these miles instead of feeling like it's a slog. We want to get back to the root of the way people are supposed to run and run healthily and beautifully through that. We want to be stronger physically so we can avoid some of those injury issues and be stronger late in races. We want to work on our toughness, which is something that I feel like we've always done a good job of as a team, that we have a very tough group of kids. And we want to do it together as a group. We want to work as a team to support each other, to make people feel welcome. And when new runners are walking around the school, they have a home at Cambridge High School because they know the older runners are there for them. And so if we can do those things, we are going to be set as a team regardless of what happens in October and November. If we hit those goals, we'll be proud of each and every kid. And then it's up to the kids of what they want to achieve at the region, state, and all those fast meets at the end of the year. So I'll open it up to any questions in the live chat if people have them for. If not, thank you for taking the time. Again, we will do the runner meeting where we'll talk about summer training specifically with the kids. And that'll be like what we normally do is an ice cream social. But we can't do that this year because the meeting hiatus is till the end of the school year. So on the 28th, we will do at 3:50 our runner meeting. Oh, awesome. Tom signed up for Brevard. That's great. Very cool. So yeah, thank you for taking the time. Look forward to seeing everybody as a part of the Sleuth. And I'll stick around for questions. I got 5 new members to remind in that time. Yeah, no, the runner meeting will be on Microsoft Teams. Great question. Because I want people to be able to ask questions and respond in real time. So if you are a new runner, you can send me an email or send me a remind, and I can add new runners to the Microsoft team, and I'll send the link out on remind. So if you're on the remind, you guys will have that access. But we'll do it on Teams because I want the kids to be able to jump in and ask things that they're confused about. Yes. Absolutely. Rising 8th graders can join that meeting. And I can explain everything that I didn't even think about the timing on middle school getting out. I'll figure that out, and we'll see the best way to do that. Maybe I can have a thing where we introduce the 8th graders in at a certain point. You know what I'll do? I'll do the extremely specific training plan stuff that would be overwhelming for 8th graders. I'll do that at the beginning of the meeting, and then we'll just talk about that stuff later. So the registration, Stephanie, if you're in the chat, would you want to answer? I'm not sure on the registration on pickle juice, but the dragonfly's got to be done before we start any summer practices to register. But I'm not sure, Stephanie, when you want them to fill out that form. Miss DeVoe is our president of the Booster Club, and we're very thankful to have her. She's taken over for Miss Donovan, who served for a very long time as our last president and did an excellent job. So we're excited to have continuity on the board through that. Oh, cool. Thank you, Miss Fettis. So Jenny said that registration on pickle juice opens around July 1st. So I think that the fiscal year ends at the end of June. I think that's why we can't take money until July 1st. All right. Any other questions? If you were in the old one, you're still in the same one. Is that Galen? I think is Table Smasher. I just change the code every year. Of course, I'm excited to have another Jones on the team. It's going to be sad with them graduating, so that'll be awesome to add another one. The schedule for fall practice is going to be Monday after school, Tuesday morning, Wednesday after school, Thursday after school, Friday morning, and then Saturdays that we don't have meets. We'll have that. So there's no second time trial. It's that's our time trial this year. We had the multiple last year for because of COVID and everything. This year we're just having the one time trial, and then the first meet would be the next. If he's running with Alpha Crush, I'm not sure how long that goes into it, but it can be a part of it. And then if he wants to transition to a few days a week with us, then that would be good. I think I have a baby though who needs bath time. You want to bring him out? He's in a diaper, so sorry for the lack of. There's no cute outfit or anything. He's just in a diaper, but he's gonna join. Hey, buddy. Hey. We get to, after a busy daycare, we get to a pretty volatile time of night where he's either very happy or very sad quickly. So this is Bradley. For anybody who doesn't know, we have a almost 1-year-old. You're clapping for everybody, buddy. We have an almost 1-year-old, so we're excited. His birthday is in a month from yesterday. So there we go. All right. Well, I'm going to go do bath time with Bradley. So I will see you guys. If you have any other questions, please send me a remind. And thank you for taking the time. Can you wave at the people? Can you say bye? No. Oh, you got it. There you come on. All right. Have a good one.